Now, whether Donald Trump likes it or not, the pandemic will be top of voters' minds on November 3rd. Polls show this response has been slammed by many Americans. Jagruti Dave looks back at how the Trump administration's coronavirus strategy has played out.
Just as rapid as they're refilling.
It's mid-March and US President Donald Trump is holding a coronavirus briefing at the White House.
We will do whatever it takes, and we're doing, I think, really, really well.
A few days after that, though, Mr. Trump tells veteran journalist Bob Woodward that he was deliberately downplaying the threat of the virus.
Well, I think, Bob, really, to be honest with you...
Sure, I want you to
I wanted to always play it down. I still like playing it down.
Yes, sir.
Because I don't want to create a panic.
Days later, major cities such as New York started shutting down as infections surged. Half a year later, the country's coronavirus death toll has topped 200,000, with tens of thousands of new cases recorded daily. President Trump has repeatedly said restricting flights from China in February bought the country precious time to prepare.
His failure to restrict flights from Europe early on was actually a bigger failure because the New York epidemic was actually seeded. We know from genetic epidemiology was seeded not from Asian cases. It was seeded from Europe.
President Trump did ramp up his administration's response, investing in personal protective equipment, manufacturing ventilators and testing, plus setting up Operation Warp Speed, the public-private partnership focused on therapeutics and the development of a COVID-19 vaccine. As US cases kept climbing over the summer, President Trump started slamming China for its early response to the outbreak, using his speech at the UN General Assembly to bash Beijing.
We must hold accountable the nation which unleashed this plague onto the world, China.
The president also criticised the agency he's promised to defund, the World Health Organization, saying it's virtually controlled by China. The Chinese say the speech was full of groundless accusations, and they call the US response to the virus a complete failure. Then, just a month before the US election, the president himself tested positive for COVID-19 and was taken to a military hospital just outside Washington, D.C.
It's been a very interesting journey. I learned a lot about COVID. I learned it by really going to school. This is the real school. This isn't the let's read the book school. And I get it, and I understand it.
But what about the American public? One survey suggests the majority of people disapprove of President Trump's response to the coronavirus crisis.
This virus is tough.
His Democratic rival Joe Biden has tried to leverage that, saying if he wins the election, he'd make masks mandatory in public nationwide, and that he'd shut down the country if scientists advised him to. The problem for Biden is that coronavirus may not be at the top of voters' minds. The Pew Research Center puts it only as the fourth most important election issue for many registered voters, trailing behind the economy, healthcare, and the Supreme Court as we head into the final stretch of the campaign. Jagruti Dave, CNA, Washington.